So, I wanted to talk today about this experience of being human and divine. Each of us here today is both human and divine, not as separate experiences that you toggle in and out of, but at the same time. The divine is expressing right now as you, as the particular human being that you are. Everything on this earth, in fact, is arising out of the divine, is made of divine essence. There is no spot where God is not, as the saying goes. Each of us is the divine expressing as a personality, and the same is true for every human that is walking or has walked the earth. Every human. No exceptions. It is true for us just as much as it was for Jesus, the Buddha, Maya Angelou, Gandhi, Harriet Tubman, all these wonderful people that we've heard tell of. And it's also true for Nixon, Hitler, Charles Manson, and anyone else that might just happen to pass through your mind. Some may seem more divinely inspired, and some, it's really hard to understand how they went so far astray. How does it happen? In Buddhism, there's a concept of causes and conditions. We're born with a certain makeup, and then from the moment of our birth, each of us is being acted upon by all the things going on around us, causes and conditions. What our family is like, what our culture is like, what we're taught to believe. All these different situations and experiences. And the more we get caught up in these situations and experiences, the more we begin to identify with them as who we are, and the more we get lost in them. And if the situations and experiences aren't radiating divine love back to us, we start to feel that we are a separate entity that has to fight for survival. We start to find ways to cope. We develop thinking patterns that separate people into us and them. We start to cling to what we want and push away anything that's uncomfortable. Jesus said, "It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to find the kingdom of God." The idea here isn't that it's wrong to have possessions, but that it's tricky to have such possessions and not start to grasp them. Rich or not, it's hard to not be identified with our stuff. In this passage, Jesus said this after interacting with a rich young man. According to the revealing word, metaphysically, the rich young man represents the personality, a state of consciousness in humans that lays hold of the world of form, seeking satisfaction in personal possessions and fulfilling the letter of the law. So that's the letter of the law versus the heart of the law. And metaphysically, Jesus is our own Christ consciousness. Our own inner awareness is calling for a change of heart, calling for us to focus on the inner over the outer. It's a call to let go of our attachment to possessions as well as our attachment to all the things our mind grasps onto, the ways we think we are right, the crystallized beliefs of separation, thoughts of lack, thoughts of glory as well. Henry David Thoreau said that most people, quote, lead lives of quiet desperation. What a tragedy, because the kingdom of the divine is right here, so close. The revealing word, metaphysically, says that the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, and the realm of divine ideas are all the same. That's all used synonymously. All these terms refer to what we have right here when we tune in. If any person in any moment realizes their oneness with this inner realm and lets that inner realm inform them, then they instantly have access to all love, all understanding, all creativity, all wisdom. Right now, if we pause, if we tune in, open up, let go of our mental grasping, and listen for that still, small voice, we have the guidance that we need for this moment, for the very next step we are led to take. Let's say it arises in you that you will find a new place to live that meets your needs better. The moment you think that, the house doesn't appear in the middle of the room. It's not out on the lawn out front. But if this inclination to find a new place to live is settled and true, the guidance will come step by step. The first step might be calling a realtor. It might be browsing online. It might be taking a slow drive through the neighborhoods. Listening in, we know the next aligned step of our journey. It is a process of moment-to-moment discernment. But our minds often want to jump to solutions, to products. I once needed to find a new apartment quickly. The first one I looked at was beautiful, in my price range, in a diverse neighborhood, and my mind was quite sure it was the one. This isn't really it, it's a stock photo. I was trying to capture Victorian, but I couldn't find one. It's something, though. But at any rate, I thought this was the one, and I ignored the things that weren't quite right. Things the landlady said about the tenants who were moving out in the neighborhood, and I moved in and out in exactly 6 months. As living with her and her way of viewing things was too stressful and dramatic for me. She was like a one-person neighborhood watch. So the signs were there, and I didn't pause to see them. Sometimes the mind convinces us that we know what we do not yet know, convinces us that the first solution we think is the only way, it's the way, and it closes itself to possibilities. Our mind often jumps ahead a few steps. When I got that apartment, I didn't pause to really take in the outer details that were presenting themselves, and I didn't really pause and notice what was going on in me. I had young kids. I was given short notice that I needed to move. I had a budget I was hoping to meet. I didn't realize that there was a sense of lack and insecurity mixed in with my certainty around this apartment. I wanted to believe that the right and perfect place to live had just appeared seamlessly, first try in front of me. I stopped looking. I was riding a false sense of security without true discernment. This is why I wanted to talk about humility today. We are divine and divinely guided, and we also, in our humanness, can easily go astray if we're not paying mindful attention. Brené Brown, in her book, Atlas of the Heart, defines humility as openness to new learning combined with a balanced and accurate assessment of our contributions, including our strengths, imperfections, and opportunities for growth. Brown points out that this is not to be confused with modesty or low self-esteem. Humility is making an accurate assessment. We are acknowledging all the ways that we are shining as well as our learning edges. Brené Brown has in this book also a separate definition of intellectual humility, a willingness to consider information that doesn't fit with our current thinking. Not easy. I heard a couple chuckles out there. It's not easy, right? She says, people who demonstrate intellectual humility don't lack confidence or conviction. They may hold strong views, but they're also open to hearing other points of view. They are curious and willing to adjust their beliefs when faced with new or conflicting information. I'm pausing here in this quote because sometimes I'm presented with new information and I can feel that I want to stay with the old. I don't want to listen, and that's the work. The quote continues, "Humility allows us to admit when we are wrong. We realize that getting it right is more important than needing to prove that we are right." And I might say it this way: being aligned with the divine knowing, the divine will in us, is more important than being seen as right in the material world. But this can be hard, as we've said. Right now, the human world is very divided. We may not feel so safe, so we might be reacting by othering. I'm good, they're bad, but it's not so simple. Remember, we're all divine beings having a human experience. In order to not be mesmerized and lost in the material, we need to cultivate awareness right here. We need to study ourselves, get an idea what habitual inclinations we have, what worries or scares us. When we are centered and discerning, and when we're centered and discerning, or when we're rushing things to give ourselves the sense that all is well, because really, subconsciously, we're not so sure. We're doubting. So Matthew 18, verses 3 and 4. "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." Remember, this kingdom of heaven is not a future destination. It's the awareness of our own divinity. It's the flow with divine realm. So what is being like a little child? Well, anyone who's tried to get a child out the door for an appointment knows that they don't rush. They're present to the moment. They meet the world with delight. They're honest, saying it like it is. They let their emotions out. They don't bury them for later. They see what's in front of them, and they explore with curiosity. So like children, we can slow down, stop to enjoy and notice the moment, notice what we need, give that to ourselves or ask for it, be honest about our feelings, and be curious. Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, says in Healing Letters, "We can, of course, throw ourselves, our God-given faculties and powers, into personal efforts and accomplish given and desired results. But unless we are working in perfect tune with the infinite and doing that which is our best and that which best meets the highest needs of our soul, we shall not be wholly satisfied, even though we gain that which we set out to attain." A lot of words, but in other words, if we don't tune into spirit, we're going to feel off, not quite satisfied. Now, things can shift when we take a moment to pull the lens back and look at what we're seeing out there and look at our reactions and inclinations in here. Then we start to see with more clarity. We can begin to have space and hear that still small voice and take our time and wait as needed until a discerning sense of knowing arises. I've read this poem before, and it speaks so well to this. It's called Clearing by Martha Postlethwaite. "Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world so worthy of rescue." As we begin to observe our inner landscape, notice our inclinations, we can choose to wait. When we first attempt to enter the silence and try to discern the still small voice from amidst the mind chatter, we might be uncertain. This is why we list Unity of Buffalo's shadow qualities each week. Not to put energy around them or a belief that they're permanent, but to open our eyes to the patterns of behavior that we need to shed in order to live our core values. They are called shadow because they are there, but we often don't recognize them, and yet they are affecting the energy of our relationships. As we recognize their presence, we can start to see ourselves and others with softer eyes, recognizing our common humanity, how easily we can get swept up in error thinking, and we can start to choose a different way. Now, as we approach this inner work, we might wonder which voice inside is real and true and not misleading us, not telling us what we want to hear. First, we need to notice how we feel. We will know when we are in the kingdom of heaven when we feel open, receptive, non-reactive. We will notice qualities that Richard Schwartz calls the 8 C's, the states of being we experience when we're tuned into the divine self. Calmness, feeling centered, peaceful, able to observe situations without reacting impulsively or defensively. Curiosity, observing our thoughts, emotions, and other people with a genuine desire to understand without an agenda, without judging or jumping into fix-it mode. Clarity, seeing situations as they really are, including the big picture, free from internal distortions. Compassion, caring for others and your own difficult parts, recognizing the pain beneath reactive behaviors, offering genuine empathy. Confidence, trusting your competence and innate goodness to handle life's challenges, even when you make mistakes. Courage, stepping into uncomfortable situations with steadiness, standing up for yourself and others. Creativity, being open-minded and imaginative when looking for solutions to internal or external problems. And connectedness, experiencing a deep sense of belonging and harmony both within yourself and in relation to the people and world around you. We can trust if these qualities are present, we are tuned in to spirit. If we are trying to push ourselves or others into a decision, feeling anxious or desperate, then we're not there yet. But as we learn to settle, then the knowing comes to us. We can wait for the answer to fall into our cupped hands until we sense the next aligned step that is ours to do. And then we can trust that the path leads where we need to go, and we simply take one step at a time. Each moment is a new moment with a new set of circumstances. Sometimes we might make a decision with some discernment and then proceed to steam ahead with it. The goal is to keep our eyes and hearts open, to continue to listen as the path may have some bends or even a shortcut. In each moment, we can only take one step. That's enough. Then we can continue to stay open, pull the lens back for a wide view, look at the new landscape moment by moment until we are clear again, and proceed to take the next step. Over time, we'll get to know our own inclinations, patterns, addictions, and when we can see them, they are less likely to rule our choices. The still small voice, the divine realm, is right here. And we can learn to relax into the flow and let it carry us gently through the moments of our lives. We can answer the call to be and do that which is ours to do in each moment. And that might be different from moment to moment. It might be self-care. It might be taking the time to cultivate self-awareness. It might be advocating for the environment, like Eve and the Earth Care Animal Ministry. And it might be working on church bylaws. This process in which the bylaws committee went through, we did a lot of pausing and reassessing, a lot of listening to each other, and a lot of listening to input we received. And it was a process where we discerned together that which most served step by step. Not perfectly, but we went along, and we came out with a solid product, I believe. And perhaps today, answering the call for you might be staying for the membership vote after the service and participating in this community. Some things we are called to do flow out seamlessly and joyfully, and some are more neutral or even unpleasant, and some are really, really challenging, really hard. So there is a need to trust that it's enough to show up and take the next step. Do what's yours to do and be who you're called to be moment to moment. Lynn Tranchell is currently finishing up the quantum living class, and many of you have taken this class and done the activity of creating a cue card. And it starts with listing people who you admire, who are living or who lived full and meaningful lives. And then we identify their qualities and are presented with the possibility that these qualities are also our qualities, that they describe who we have come here to be. Brave, authentic, loving, powerful, compassionate, wise. Any qualities we can see in others are also in our reach. Any quality of the divine also lives in and as us. Our task is to increase our awareness of our truest heart's desire, our unique path, and walk the talk, being humbly human while also fully owning our divinity. As we prepare for meditation, I invite you to find a comfortable position in your chair. Maybe noticing the feel of your feet solidly on this earth, the feel of the chair supporting you, and maybe noticing the easy inflow and outflow of your breath. You might decide to close your eyes or turn them gently downward, shifting the attention from the head to the heart. Letting ourselves relax into the awareness of Spirit moving in and as us. We become aware of those Spirit qualities of calmness and compassion. Resting in these qualities for a moment. Even as we recognize and settle into these heart qualities, we may be aware of our human side. It might be showing up as tension or pain in the body, worries or concerns, or difficult emotions. Whatever might be here, we can invite it to rest in our calm, compassionate heart. We are both human and divine. Our humanness is always and forever held in and as the divine. We invite in heart qualities of curiosity and courage as we sit with what is here for our human self in this moment. If resting with this seems like too much right now, we turn our focus to simply resting in the calm and reassuring compassion of the heart. Or if we feel centered as we hold our human concerns, we continue to be curious and we wait until the answers to our heart's questions fall into our own cupped hands, trusting that the heart knows what is needed in this moment. Taking a moment now to savor whatever measure of calmness and compassion we may have experienced, and noting any insights that arose, guiding us to clarity and creative living. Pausing now, keeping awareness on this heart space, we bring some attention back to this space we hold together, this community. Before Mary Beth says a prayer, I want to invite you to stay in this quiet state, to notice the qualities of Spirit that are here: love, wisdom, compassion, strength, creativity. And I ask you to hold the vibration of Spirit and radiate these divine heart qualities as I read the names of those who lost their lives on May 14th, 2022. Celestine Cheney, Roberta Drury, Andre McNeil, Catherine Massey, Margus Morrison, Hayward Patterson, Aaron Salter Jr., Geraldine Talley, Ruth Whitfield, Pearl Young. We also remember their families, friends, and community, knowing they are held and guided by the divine. May we also humbly listen to the still small voice as to what is ours to do to bring a new world into being. Mary Beth.